Grab a coffee or maybe a lint roller and settle in. You're listening to Resale Therapy.
I'm Hannah, and I'm joined by my partner in thrifting, Kendall. This is the space where we talk about the hunt, the hustle, and everything in between.
Whether you're currently staring at a mountain of unlisted inventory or you're just here for the thrift haul stories, we're glad you're here. Think of this as your weekly vent session and strategy meeting all rolled into one.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to episode 11. Today, we're going to be talking about comparison culture and imposter syndrome, something that I think we can all relate to. Um, but before we get started, we're going to go over our highs and lows, and I'm going to let Kendall kick us off.
All right. Okay, well, I'll start with my low because I feel like it's always better to end on a high. My low, and okay, I know I said last time that I'm not going to talk about my sprint month anymore, but I swear this is the last time that I will say anything. But my low is that I didn't share last week because I didn't want to jinx it, but I was so close to hitting my 10,000 month last month, which is one of my goals this year. And I was like $250 shy. Like, obviously, I was kind of kicking myself because one, I was thinking about all the offers that I didn't take that I could have, but would also like, I, I don't regret that necessarily because there are offers that like I shouldn't have taken, like if they were too low. But then I'm thinking like anything would have gotten me there. And the other thing is I didn't list anything for a week, like anything new. And if I would have done that, I probably would have hit my 10,000 months. So now I'm hoping this month, all the work that I did last month will just start to trickle and, I'll have it this month. But so that is the last of my sprint months, but I was so close. So if you ever need if you still need inspiration or anything like that to do a sprint month, I would encourage it because I almost hit 10. I mean, that also does not encompass just reselling because I do make money from content. So keep that in mind. But yeah, so that was my low. And my high is also with all of the work that I've done. I've talked about it before, how bad my listing impressions were. And now I am officially in the green and I am at 0.6% in the green. And that feels so good because I was at like -20. So again, all that work got me to a positive, which I'm so happy because that's just going to help my listings get shown and make sales. So yeah, still all very sales focused. So I guess I'll say one more high. It is my anniversary today. So yay,
Happy
3 years
birthday.
with my husband, over like 10 years together, but 3 years married. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Wow. So you started reselling full time around the time you got married? Is that
It
right?
was that was like the reason that I went full time was because I got married and got on his health insurance because I was on health insurance. So it was like as soon as we set the date of when we were gonna get married because we just went to the courthouse and did it. Uh, then I got my annual bonus, made sure to let that hit my bank account, and then I put in my 2 weeks the day that that hit my bank account, and I was out by the end of April, and I was on my husband's health insurance. So that was yes. The reason why we got married was so I could be a full-time reseller. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say the anniversary of your marriage is way more important, but I just put those 2 together that this must have
Yeah,
been around your 3-year mark too.
yeah. Well, technically, I say, like, May 1 because I didn't,
Okay.
like, actually start, like, full-time until because I
Yeah.
still worked all obviously the full end of April, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Um, my low. So Kendall and I have been talking a lot about our goals that we started in the new year and just like now being 4 months in. Yeah, 3 months starting on our fourth. We're just kind of like reevaluating our goals and like, were those ambitious? Do they feel aligned with our values and so on and so forth? But one goal that I really do hold close is going to the gym. Like I go to something called Burn Boot Camp. It's a franchise and it's like all over. But my goal for the year was to do 150 camps, which means about 3 classes a week. And since I've moved, I'm really far from a burn, and so it's been really hard to go. But once I move into Richmond, I'll be able to go a lot easier. But it's just been hard not having that routine. And we talked about it last week, just like the benefit to my mental health. And so that's been my low is not being able to go because it's too far away. But I will make it back. So I'm just trying to remind myself of that and that there's other ways to exercise outside of that. But the thing about burn is like I don't have to think about it. I just go and everything's laid out for me. And I have childcare while I'm there. So it's very, very easy. Um, and not having it takes a lot of motivation and mental exercise to then exercise. And then my high was just Easter yesterday. I love like the holidays that you can actually get together and celebrate, like St. Patrick's Day. We don't really like see our family for that. Or Valentine's Day, but I like being able to like gather with family and we went to an like newer church in the area. And so it was just fun to like actually immerse ourselves on a holiday in a new city and see what that's like. So that was a lot of fun. And then I had a Depop sale that was like, I want to say it was $90. I think I'm making like 78. So I'm just guessing it must have been like 90. But I bought this like faux NFL jacket that's like the satiny type. And when I bought it, I thought it was like really nice. And then I got home and I realized like, oh, the NFL tag isn't on the inside. It's like probably like a Shein jacket or like, I don't know, Amazon or something. But I mean, I disclosed that, like all the pictures are there. And I still sold it on Depop. So that was fun.
For $90? That's
Yeah.
crazy. What was the sports team?
Giants. So I think that was like a big part of it too, is like, I feel like that's even like a fashion statement, like certain teams.
Yeah.
And so it was blue and red, and, I don't know, maybe someone's buying it just for fashion purposes.
I mean, hey, we'll take it. It's or can you return on Depop? Or is there no returns? I can't really remember.
I've never experienced it, but I think you could in a similar manner as Poshmark, like if something was wrong.
Sorry, go ahead. What were you gonna
I was
say?
gonna say, I have a question too that I wanted to bring up on the podcast.
Yeah, go for it.
So, I had this happen a few weeks ago, but today I had someone who bought something yesterday through an offer on Poshmark, and then today they messaged me and asked if I could cancel it or if they could cancel it and or I would cancel it for them. But they didn't say why, so I'm guessing it's just buyer's remorse. And
Mhm.
I'm just trying to figure out like what is it to be a good business owner and offer good customer service, but also stick to policies and rules. And ultimately I said no because it was a day later and they didn't give me any reason. But they were like, "I just looked into Poshmark's policies and, you won't be penalized because it's a buyer requested cancel, blah, blah, blah." But I'm like, "I don't know how to decide on something like that." Like, it's not very obvious why they need to cancel, and it's a day later. Do you have any tips on that?
I mean, knowing like, for me, if it was a day later, I would have probably have already shipped it. Like, I ship first thing Monday morning, so, like, if
Yeah.
somebody did have like which also, like you said, like, it's out of that, like, window of time, so
Mhm.
and, like, yeah, why didn't they like, not that that's, like, fishy that they didn't give you a reason, but, like, that would obviously help their case if they were like, "This is
Right.
the reason that I need you to cancel it," like, being more, like, upfront about it, but I don't know. I haven't had that happen yet, like, have an experience like that on Poshmark because 'cause I'm kind of like, I don't know exactly how I would deal with it just because it would be like, I would want to do what the person wants because I would wanna give good customer service in that way, but then also, like, I'm someone that is, like, more, like, I follow the rules, and I'm, like, I'm not great with the gray area, like, I'm more of a black
Yeah.
and white person, so I think, like, for me, it'd be like, well you're outside of the policy, so, like, you're not doing what you're supposed to, so I kind of would just be like, "Sorry, you can
Yeah.
reposh it or whatever." But, yeah, I don't know, I hope that I never have to deal with that, but which I should probably ship a little not as fast. Like, I'll sell things like I sold something this morning, and, like, I
Right.
had it shipped in, like, an hour, which,
Okay.
like, is in the window of when they can technically cancel it, right? So, like, I should probably
Yeah.
not do that, but then
Yeah.
also I'd be like, "Well, it's already shipped," and, like, you're
Right.
already, like, creating that agreement when you send the offer or when you accept the offer I sent, whatever, it's like you're already going into that, you know, like, binding agreement kinda thing, but
Right. Exactly. And then what about eBay? Like, let's say you sell it on Monday. I know that you don't ship again until Wednesday. Let's say they message you on Tuesday and then they actually can write you a bad review where it does affect you. But I know that eBay also takes note of your cancellations and that affects your score, whatever it's called. How would you handle that on eBay?
so are you saying, like, would the feedback be given to me after it's already been shipped or, like yeah. I mean, I
Or
feel
just
like
like, would you still ship it or would you cancel it?
that I would probably cancel. Like, if I haven't actually normally, I mean, with most cancellation, I feel like it's, like, immediate. Someone's like, "Oh, I ordered by mistake," which I don't understand that when you send me an offer and you put in your card information and you did it by mistake. I don't know. You need to take your pho someone but I usually cancel those because also for me, since I offer returns, to me, it's just gonna be a return label that I'm gonna have to pay for later because they're
Yeah.
already saying they don't want it. I haven't shipped it yet. I've also done it like, somebody has canceled an order or wanted to cancel after I'd already paid for the shipping label, and I hadn't actually left my house yet with it, so, like, that, I just voided the shipping label, so, like, I got my refund on the label, and then I, refunded them for the item. But, yeah, for eBay, I always cancel just because I know if they're already wanting to cancel, chances are they're gonna get it and they're gonna return it because I offer the
Yeah.
return, so,
Yeah.
just saving myself some time and, I can resell it and get it back up listed, especially if it's like a popular item or something.
Right. And you canceling it on eBay before you ship it out, like, that still affects you, right? Because I remember having, like, a eBay consult, and they told me the percentage of my cancellations, and they're like, "We wanna lower that to help your store." And so I'm just how do you, like, make that decision?
Yeah, I honestly don't know, like, how it breaks down because, like, when you do cancel something, I mean, one, the buyer can cancel it and then, they can do it on their end and it gets canceled, but if they're past that window and they ask you to do it, whenever I do it, I'll cancel it and it'll say buyer asked to cancel, like
Okay. Okay.
or I cancel because they messed up their shipping address, which is also super annoying. I wish eBay would fix the way that you go about that because you have to cancel it, relist it, they buy it with their correct address, but that's also a selection, like, you can put issue with buyer's address, which, like, are all things that are not on me, so I don't know exactly how it breaks down, like, depending on what you click, like, how it impacts your profile because, like, I've never canceled I mean, that's not true. I mean, I've definitely canceled things in the past because I sold it already on another platform or maybe purged it and didn't take it out of my store yet, like, didn't it's sold and I didn't have it anymore, and those are on me, but for the most part, it's always, like, a buyer end issue, like, I don't know, I mean, like, I have my Seller Hub up right now on my computer, and, like, my transaction defect rate, like, I don't know if that would be I'm at a 0.07%, and I've can't like, I mean, I don't know how many that's one of 1,400 transactions that was what I canceled because I didn't have it. It's like 0.07%, like, that's not really I'm
Yeah,
still top
that's
rated, that's not
crazy.
gonna impact me.
Right, and if you do cancel, it still would be so minor.
Yeah, yeah, like, I think I could do, a handful more and still like, I have a because 'cause I'm still looking at it, my late shipment rate is I've had 5 out of 1,400 that have been late, and that's a 0.34%. But, like, you want to be a 3% or less, and I'm a 0.34%. So like I still can send a bunch late if I want or need to, or something happens. I don't want to do that. That's more of like, I drop off at a ship station, so, like, if I miss the UPS guy or USPS guy or he doesn't come, it's like, sometimes he hasn't gone to the ship station, which I'm like, "How do you not? That's your part of your job, and, like, I rely on you." Like, I dropped a bunch of packages off today, and if, like, they don't get scanned, I'm gonna get dinged for every single one, which would impact that number, but, like, still, I can get all the way up to a 3%, which is pretty high compared to what I'm
Yeah.
at right now.
Yeah, and it's
So,
gonna be a while till you get there.
yeah, yeah, hopefully never.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for answering that and just something to continue to think on, especially as we see things change up on Poshmark.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
Oh,
let's get into comparison culture. Well, I will start with just sharing this is definitely something that affects me as someone who is a full-time reseller, but also I'm balancing being a mom. And so
mhm.
sometimes like my mindset is I'm a full-time mom, part-time reseller, but like, yeah, it gets blurry. And so it's not everyone has that experience. And so it's really easy to see the differences between me and other people. What about you? And as far as like comparison culture, what have you noticed as you've been a full-time reseller, even when you were part-time, maybe that was a struggle too?
Yeah, I mean, I part-time, I don't even like, I feel like it was a blur, like, I don't really remember part-time,
Yeah.
and I think when I started part-time, I was also posting content, so I was, like, putting myself in the area of, like, the having the feelings of comparing myself because I was, like, then also creating content, but I think I was so wrapped up in my own content that I was, like, not, which is, like, one of my tools, like, if I'm falling into comparing myself to other people that I see on social media, like, when I start creating more content, then I'm, like, not focusing on other people, I'm focusing on myself, so, like, it always helps me if I'm, like, you know, I need to just, like, create instead of compare, but I think for me, the, like, comparison is something that I've battled with for, I mean, most of being a reseller and just, like, going out on my own and being, self-employed and, um like how that will look to other people and how I will compare to other people. Like if I'm in this same situation, you know, I feel like I was so hung up on like finances, especially in the beginning. Like I didn't like my success, I felt like was tied to my money and like how much money I was making. And, we talked about it before, like how I define success now is not in a financial way. And obviously that's like a nice thing. But I feel like that was the biggest thing that I would compare was, like, how much people were making and I was also sharing my own numbers, which I kind of have stopped sharing as much, although I know people love to see that, like, that pe everyone wants to know the, like, behind the scenes details, which, like, I get, like, you
Yeah.
wanna know, like, how much that person's actually making because you wanna know if you can do it and you can survive on that and all this, but, like, there's so many other factors, like, I am not supporting our household, like, that is the biggest one, it's like, I feel like sometimes if I don't upfront share that I'm almost, like, lying to people, but I'm not. I'm not, like, actively, omitting that information, but, like, I feel like people might get them wrong, a misperception and be like, "She's making that and she's, like, has a house and is support." No, I'm not. Like, I am not paying for the mortgage, the bills, grocery like, I really am, like and not that I wouldn't, I would, but my husband is fully okay with doing all of that. So, like, I pay for my student loan and my car payment and things like that, but people don't you see the video I create and that's all you see. You don't know all of the stuff that's behind and, and I try to be transparent, like, I'm not ever trying to, like, pull one over on people, but I
Yeah.
think that knowing that that is how my situation is, that, like, it helps me to look at people a little bit differently of, like, okay, they're sharing this, but there's all these other things that are going into it. So, like, I mean, again, I still fall into like, well, they did this and I'm only doing this, but they also have all of these other things that are impacting that number that they share or whatever. So I feel like that
Yeah.
is important to remember, but obviously very easy to just, you know, fall
Yeah.
into comparison.
I think it's funny that you talk about transparency because I literally just made this connection of like, I feel like we need transparency from content creators, and I don't actually feel like we need that. I'm just saying collectively, people have talked about you need to be transparent about blank, 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 but like that information isn't owed to anyone.
Yeah,
And transparency still doesn't give you the full picture. Like, I think we think it fills in all of the gaps we feel that we deserve to know, but it still does not even answer like where they live and like the cost of living in that state or really private information, like whether you have student loans or don't
yeah,
have student loans, whether you own a house or don't own a house. Like we really don't need that information. And so I think it's like this really murky and like I think it can get not ugly, but I think it can just like affect our self-esteem and our picture of our day to day and how well we're doing when we don't need that information to diagnose our day or how well we're doing in our businesses because really only your money or your business or whatever only affects you. And I understand because I can fall into that too. I'm not saying I've um accomplished not needing to know that information, but I understand wanting to know that information to level up or understand if you're doing a good job. But I think if you analyze your own information, you can tell yourself or identify whether you are doing a good job or not.
yeah. Yeah. I know. I think I've definitely gotten better, and, like, it's just been, like, sometimes I just have to talk it out, and, like, my husband is my soundboard for everything, so it's like, he is the voice of reason. I'll say all the nonsense that I need to say, and then he'll be like, "Okay, like, you're actually doing really well. Like, look at from last year where you are now." And I think for me, that is a big thing that I have been doing since October is, like, I've done reflections on my business and my social media, and that has always helped me when I am starting to feel, like, down on myself, or my social media numbers are like, moving slow, or my sales feel really slow, and then I look at what I did last year at this time, and I'm, already 2x my money, or already gained the follower, like, whatever it is, looking at it and zooming out has always helped me, and I feel like that's something that, like, you know, I'll I'll try to be consistent with things, but, like, this surprisingly, like, doing reflections, I do it weekly, monthly, quarterly, has actually been something that I've been able to be consistent with, which I'm happy about because it is really nice to see that. I mean, and I can get that data from my reseller Genie and all, but it's like, I have it in I don't know, the app is called Obsidian that I use, kinda like Notion, but, like, it's all there so I can, like, go through and be like, "Okay, I wanna look at where I was at this time," whatever. I haven't done a full year yet, but you get what I mean? And it's just nice to see, like, okay, like, I'm actually doing great, or like I'm especially those times when I feel like maybe I'm plateauing, or like I'm not doing well, to see that I am, and like I have the hard numbers to prove it. It's not just like a feeling. I think that then brings on the feeling of, okay, I'm good. Like I don't need to feel bad that I didn't, you know, do as well this week as I thought, but then in reality I actually did. It's, like, very easy to forget, and, like, forget how I was doing last week whenever I'm in a week that's not good, you know? Like, it's so easy to just be like, "It's all
Totally.
bad, everything's bad," but really it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. It really is. And like something my husband reminds me of often is like bigger businesses or businesses that don't have solopreneurs are taking risk that I don't have to take, like financial risk. Like I don't have overhead of owning a warehouse or my inventory costs me $5 a piece. And so when I think I'm doing bad, I like try to remind myself of that of like the stakes here are very minimal and I can always improve my situation. I think I'm like, "Why am I going on this tangent?" I think I'm just sharing that of, like, when we think that we're doing bad, I'm like, the risk or the stakes could be so much worse, and we're just being hard on ourselves.
Yeah. Like, and, like, it's not, like, life or death. Again, because we have we're not single and trying to, feed children on what we're making. Like, yes, it
Right.
is money that is important, and we bring value to our, like, household, but it doesn't it's not, like, living paycheck to paycheck and, like, this, like, very struggling times, but, I think that there's ever I mean, like, can comparison be healthy? Like, is there a way to look at it in a healthy way that isn't, you then feel bad about yourself?
Yeah. I think it's the word comparison that's hard because I don't know if you've heard this, but comparison is the thief of joy, and or that's, like, a common saying, but I think inspiration is hand in hand with comparison, and so again, I think comparison, it's like this person compared to me, but no two people or situations are alike. And so I don't think that it can be healthy, but inspiration can be
Mhm.
healthy or um, being encouraged or challenged can be healthy based on what you see someone doing. So if someone like posts a day in the life and you're like, oh, I want to try that, I think that can be healthy, but it's always such a fine line.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, I feel like I agree. I feel like comparison, just the word has a negative connotation to it. 'Cause, like, you are saying, like, "How do I shape up to this person?" Like, that is,
Exactly.
where are my sales at versus this person, and
Yep. Yeah.
but, yeah, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, like, as long as you're happy and your version of success is being met, then it doesn't really matter, but it is just because everything's online, like, everyone,
Yeah.
there's so much out there, and, like, you also have to remember that you're getting someone's highlight reel, and, like, yes, there are people, like, that'll say a day in the life or behind the scenes and things like that, and, like, I've made content like that, and I'm still, like, again, try and be as transparent as I can be, but also it's like, I still wanna make content that's interesting and, like, that is gonna people are gonna wanna watch it, so, like, maybe not 100% of what I share, but it's like, I'm not saying that I don't share things that are true, but it's like, maybe I make them seem a little bit more interesting than they are,
Yeah.
and even that
Yeah.
is, like, I'm trying to, you know, have be perceived in a way that makes my life maybe more interesting than it is. Because
Right.
I feel like most of my if I do a day in the life, I feel like it's boring, but also sometimes that's what people need to see to feel like they don't have to, have these crazy hauls and these super productive, busy work days. It's like, that's not the reality. Like, yes,
Right.
those days happen, but most of the time it's like, I do my listings, I do my photos, like I scroll on my phone. Like, it's not like I'm you know, constantly having these crazy exciting days. But that's the fun part to see, like the hauls and which I think hauls, like sharing any type of thrift haul makes it so easy for me to feel that FOMO of like, now I need to go thrifting or and then you go thrifting and you don't find anything and you're like, ah, like this person is showing all these great brands and I can't find anything. And, you know,
Yeah.
that's another level to it is like the feeling of needing to go thrifting, especially when you see somebody that has just shared a haul.
Yep. Yeah. And like how so many people who thrift, they might not be resellers, but who thrift feel as though we are lucky for what we find at the thrift store.
Mhm.
But there have been so many times I've walked out of the thrift store without anything. And I go multiple times a week, whereas some people go once a month or once a week. And so, of course, I'm going to have more luck because I'm going more often. Or I've like vetted thrift stores of here are the ones I know who perform well for me compared to the ones who I not uh, who I don't do well with, or like I can't find as much inventory, and I stop going to those places where that place might be closest to someone's house, and that's where they keep going, you know? And
Yeah.
so I think there's that piece too, and like states or cities. Like there's someone who I follow in Boston, and then a couple girls I follow in Dallas. And the things they find so consistently blows my mind. And
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, if I lived in Boston or in Dallas, like I would be finding gems all the time.
Yeah. I know. And I mean, honestly, I feel comparison to people mainly like financially. I feel like I feel comparison and that's where I compare. But when I see thrift hauls, it's more exciting. Like I'm like, one, I'm learning about brands from other people that are finding them, but also like it's like vicariously living through these people of like, you found all of this. Like it, yes, I'm like, oh man, like that's great. Like I'm never not happy for them. And I'm not necessarily not happy for myself in that situation. Like, I'm not like, "Oh, I feel pity for me because they found this stuff." It's more
Right.
like, "Dang, they found all that stuff. Now I wanna go out and see if I can find any of that stuff." Like,
Yeah.
it's more of like a adrenaline. Like, I'm like, "Oh, like,
Yeah.
I wanna go out and see what I can find." And then it's like, if you come up with nothing, then you're like, "Well, damn." But also, you never know. Like, it's like that's part of
Yeah.
thrifting is, like, that thrill of the hunt, and, like, you could go into a thrift store and walk out with, 25 pieces, or you could go in and walk out with 2. You just don't know, so, you
Yeah.
know but then I get this, like, pool to go, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't like, I have other things I need to focus. It's more like I shouldn't be prioritizing thrifting because I have other things I need to do, and when I see those hauls, I'm like, oh, but now I wanna thrift," you know? So,
Right. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard.
What about with content creation? This is this is part of your income, or
Mm.
it's going to be. How do you find that balance of logging on to work and not falling into comparison, or even maybe like uh, what you see affecting your mental health? Like I remember soon after I had my baby, I would get on Facebook to look at like Facebook Marketplace or groups, and I would see things that would be really scary for like a first time mom. And I'm like, how the heck am I supposed to do my job without being flashed this news article or this a warning thing?
Yeah.
But what about you as far as like logging on and having those boundaries, or do you?
I mean, I've said this before, like, I have muted people that I feel like I don't wanna unfollow necessarily, like, it's not like I don't want to remain friends with them, virtual friends, but, like, sometimes I'm not in a space where I can see what they're putting out and feel that put like, sometimes that can make me spiral where I feel like "Oh, poor me," like, what, And then again, it's like I have to go to my husband, say this, and he's like, "But, like, you did this and this and this, like, let's not forget the, like, laundry list of things," and then it's like, "Okay, I'm grateful for all the experiences." So, like, and that doesn't happen every single time, but, like, it does kind of, like again, I'm not happy for that person, but I feel like it can sometimes feel that way as if I'm like it's jealousy, honestly, like, it's just I'm jealous of and jealousy is if you're experiencing that or feeling that, it's because something that you're seeing is something that you want for yourself. And when I tell myself that, it's like, okay, this person has this or they posted about this and I'm feeling a certain way about it. Okay, is there anything I can do that will put me in the position that that person is in? Like I personally want to create I want to do YouTube and I've always wanted to do YouTube and I haven't because one, I'm like the editing and like I just get into a spiral where it's gonna take me so long when like I make content and it's just more just a different format. But I like to talk. Like this is why the podcast is great for me because I can just like talk for an hour and that's kind of where what I would want from YouTube. But I'm holding myself back. But then when I see other people out, oh, I just made a sale. But when I see other people, my thing went ching. When I see other people that are posting like I struggle to create content in public, and when I see other people that are doing
Yes.
that, immediate immediate envy, and it's like but then it's like I'm battling in my head of like I'm just upset that I can't do that. Like I'm upset that I'm holding myself back from posting in public or like, you know, I see people wear their GoPros and they're like filming in the store or their meta glasses and things like that. And I just am insecure about it. And that insecurity I put on, other people and then it, messes with my head. But like, I know that I think I can identify it and I know that that is the cause of those feelings and emotions. So it's not, it has nothing to do with them. It's just like myself and how can I push myself to be that person that I want to be and that I see other people do effortlessly. And I'm like, but they all started somewhere. I'm sure that they were like me at one point and was afraid to do, film in public and do all of that. But like at the end of the day, nobody actually cares. Like I see them and I'm like, oh, damn, I wish I could do that. Not like, oh my God, like they're filming. Like, it's not like that's where my head goes. It's like people are going to look at me and it's like nobody actually cares. But I have to get out of my own head to do it. I don't even remember what the question was, so, like, I don't know if I just went on a total tangent that had nothing to do with what we were
I was
talking about,
thinking
but
about the boundaries or balance of logging on because content creation is your job, and so you need to do it,
yeah,
but when you start to feel that it's affecting you, how do you step away because you know that you have to commit in some part because that then brings in your income. But I think that
yeah,
does help answer some of the question of like there's motivation to be on, but you're
mhm,
trying to acknowledge like these parts or pieces are affecting me and that's when I need to take a break.
yeah, and I think, like, for me too, when I'm like, if I'm getting paid by somebody, like, if I have a partnership with somebody, like, that I don't know, I'm someone that, like, I'm reliable, I'm not ever gonna, like, not turn my stuff in on time or anything like that, so, like, when I know that there's someone's relying on me and there's money involved, I'll do what I have to do and like turn in the video when I have to and all of that. And I feel like that when I have work to do like that, it makes it very easy to not focus on other people because I'm busy with my own stuff, which goes back to like me saying create content if you're feeling like and this is obviously I'm not saying everyone go and create content, but if you are feeling like you want to and you're then comparing yourself to other people, once you start creating your own, you stop thinking so much about other people. Like you come up with creative ideas yourself and you're not because like I also feel like that's an easy thing is like you see what people create and then you like, people get mad when things are like stolen or like the concept of videos get people recreate and then it's like you're
Yeah.
not I don't know, all of that kind of stuff, which actually, funny enough, I created a series, which I never finished because I just content became way too much. When I first started creating content, it was the ABCs of reselling. And I went through each letter of the alphabet and shared brands that I would pick up and that I wouldn't pick up, which would totally change now when I watch those videos back. And I think it got to like N and I just didn't go on any longer. And I was scrolling like a few months after and I saw somebody else doing an ABCs of reselling. And I was like, hold up. They took my idea. But then part of me was like, I'm flattered. Like they saw it and they were like, I'm going to run with this. And cool. Like I didn't, yes,
They pick up right at O.
yeah, yeah. They're like, I'm going to one up you. But I mean, like, yeah, maybe they saw my video. Maybe that idea came to them themselves. I don't freaking know, but like, at first I was like, wait a second, like this sounds
Yeah.
familiar, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I just anything because I haven't thought about that in a while. But I should really go back and finish those letters. But a year, 2 years later, coming back
I
better
know,
than ever.
like SpongeBob, like 2 years later.
Yeah, yeah. That would actually be great. That'd be a great intro because then that just negates all of the time that I didn't do anything. It's like, oh, okay, a SpongeBob
Literally.
meme, perfect.
Yeah. I think I think too, like, social media and I know we're, like, going heavy on social media when we're reselling podcasts, but so much of our community shares on social media.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we're kind of headed in that direction, but what I was gonna share was I try to post on social media on my reselling page, which is separate from my personal, but I'm not consistent, like, I'm not trying to be a content creator, but I try to share to look legitimate for my consignment clients that I'm trying to secure, or anyone who might want to work with me and who looks me up. Like, I want them to see some of the stuff that I'm doing. It's almost kind of like a working resume. Um, and so that can sometimes get in my head of like, "Oh, I haven't posted in a while." Like, recently, I just compared myself to a few people who shared their consignment payouts to people, and I'm like, "Ugh, I haven't done that in a while." And so, like, how are consignment clients gonna know that they're going to get good payouts if I'm not posting pictures of what I'm paying out people? But I think the truth is kind of, I think when we did highs and lows either last week or the week before is like consignment clients I'm going to find or are going to find me in really unique and random ways. And I just have to trust that. Like, I don't need my social media to be my resume. I think it's a bonus and it could be helpful, but it could be that someone chooses me because they like my personality.
Yeah.
Or I'm working with someone right now who they have been on the hunt for someone the past 5 months, and I randomly reached out to them, and they were so excited that I reached out, and I think it felt like their hunt or work was over, and so they just chose me, but they didn't ask me for, like, my credentials or anything like that. Um, so that's something I'm having to remind myself of.
I honestly didn't even think about like, I've seen people post their, like, consignment payouts, and I just thought it was like a flex, like, "Hey, look at all" like, not in a negative way. I never even thought about it in the sense of, like, if people want to consign with you, they can see that you're paying $100, $200, whatever you're paying out to people, that, like, they can look at that and be like, "Oh, I can make money with this girl." Never even crossed my mind, so that's so funny because I do wanna do consignment and, like, that it would be a I mean, because I do create content like that eventually would be a smart thing to share because I was just like, "Oh, that's a flex." Like, you just paid
Yeah,
all these people, like, you must have gotten good stuff and they sold it. I, like, didn't look at it through the lens of, like, a potential client seeing it, but
yeah,
I also don't know, like, how you just said, this lady didn't even ask you for anything and just, like, was, her hunt was over and she picked you. Like, I am curious on the other end of it, like, what a consignment client, like, if they are with somebody, like, have they, like, interviewed people? Have they, like, been
mhm,
searching for so long? Like, I just don't know any of that end of
yeah,
things because, like, I'm not in that world, but, like, I am curious of how like, people that do wanna have their stuff consigned, like, what their process is to even find somebody, or if it's just, like, serendipity and you just happen to reach out to this person when they're thinking about it, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, great, like, I'll take you," you know?
yeah. Yeah, well, I have reached out to people who are already working with a consigner, but they then ask me, What do you pay out?" And so it's like they're almost willing to jump ship if I can pay them more, which is another comparison thing of like, am I paying out too little and I could offer them more so that they pick me? But then that's not holding myself to the standard of like, I am worth making X amount of dollars and I put in this amount of work. I deserve to get paid this much. And I think that's like a whole other thing. But I think that that can be a comparison too of like how much you're working or how much you're paying out consignment clients and holding yourself to that value of like, my work is worth this amount.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it could feel easy to, like, change your rates because you wanna get somebody so that you have somebody, but then it's like, yeah, you have to, like, set what you're gonna set, and then the people that are willing to meet you there will meet you there and, like, find you
Yeah.
versus but also, like, if that person if there was somebody that was willing to jump ship from the person they're with, like, I don't know if I would want somebody that it's almost like, you don't date somebody that cheated on you or cheated with you kind of thing because they're gonna cheat on you, like, it almost feels like that, like, if this person is willing to jump ship from this person that they're consigning with because you get a better rate, like, I get it, they want more money, but also, like,
Yeah.
there's just no loyalty, like, there's just no, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know this consignment world. I will eventually know it, but right now I'm like, "Oh, man, what am I
Yeah.
gonna get myself into?"
Um, I I think I have never thought that consciously, but I think it's probably been in the back of my head because I remember feeling like, I don't know if I wanna get involved.
Yeah, like, you're gonna be the middleman that, like, they
Yeah,
leave their consigner with.
right.
They're the consignee, so yes, the consigner. Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
anything else on comparison before we hop over to imposter syndrome?
I don't think so. I feel like imposter syndrome goes right along with comparison.
Yeah, exactly. You made a good note that comparison is external, so it's about us comparing ourselves to someone else or a similar situation. Or business model or whatever. And then imposter syndrome is internal. So it's how do we compare to ourselves or how we think we should be. Um, you included the Google search of imposter syndrome. Do you want to read that or the
Sure.
definition?
Yeah. Imposter syndrome is a psychological experience where high achieving individuals doubt their accomplishments and harbor a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite evidence of their competence. It involves attributing success to luck rather than ability, causing anxiety, self doubt, and often perfectionism. And that just like cuts me to the core. I feel like, oh my gosh, I am diagnosed. I have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I think for me, and this is something that like we haven't touched on yet, but like I've been, a full time reseller, it'll be 3 years, but the amount of things that I've been fortunate enough to do, like I have done different things with eBay and spoken at things, and they've interviewed me. I got to go to New York with eBay. Like there's just been a laundry list. And this goes back to whenever I'm feeling a certain way, my husband's like, listen, you did this. Like these are all like once in a lifetime experiences. And for me, it was so easy to be like, "What? Like, did they get the person wrong? Like, why am I being contacted to speak at this, seller check-in, and why am I like, it was so easy to be like, "Why me?" And, like, I still do that, and, like, because I also consider I still call myself, like, a baby reseller. I don't think that I'm seasoned compared to other people, and, like, I've gotten people that ask me questions about that too. They're like, "How did you get asked to do this?" Or, like, not in, like, a mean way, like, "Why you?" That's just what I think, but, like, they're
Yeah.
like, "How" just, like, finding out, like, how they can also do it, and I'm like, "I literally have no idea," and, I mean, I will say social media is, I think, the biggest reason that all of this stuff has happened with eBay that I've been able to do because I started making content for them, like, maybe when I had, like, 8,000 followers or 9, I don't know, something around there, 10,000, and I now have 21,000, and, like, I was making content with them very early on, and that was one of those ones where I, like, looked up the email because I was like, "Is this real? Am I getting scammed? Like, is this fake?" Which I've done
Yeah.
several times in the experiences that I've got to do with eBay because 'cause I'm like, "This is too good to be true."
Wow.
And that, like, yeah, I still don't know, like, I don't know why I got picked to do the things that I got picked to do, but, like, obviously, I am very grateful, and every time that I've done them, I, like, soak it all in and do as much as I possibly can because, like, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen again, but that anything that I've done with eBay has been imposter syndrome to the max, like, every single time. I'm like, and maybe on the outside, I look confident, and on the outside, I look like I got there because I'm so good at what I do, and, like, I'm not good, but also I'm like, "Am I this good? Like, am I good enough to get there?" And apparently they saw something in me, so I think that's something that I always have to remember is, like, I didn't reach out to them, they reached out to me, so, like, remembering that, you know, if if somebody is choosing you for something, it's because of something that you are bringing to the table, and I think that that's important to remember, but also very easy to forget.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you reach out to someone, like, be that girl, get that bag, like, it's
Yeah.
it's totally okay too if you're the confident one to say, um, "I believe in myself," and I think that I can make this work. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
to
100.
your point, like for sure, them reaching out to you is such an honor and is an affirmation or reassurance that they see something in you. Or that you're
And
a
I think,
great representation for a huge company. Like, that's
yeah,
exciting.
I think it's like also uh, especially like leaving my full-time job where I was getting a stable paycheck and like, I am someone that I have always been like financially smart and like save my money and all this. So like to leave something where I was like super stable to not be stable and like really just like bet on myself was like those things that I got to do was every time it's just like, okay, like I'm on the right path. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it just, and not that you have to have those things to feel that way, but like it definitely was like a confirmation of like, oh, okay, like I'm doing the right things. Like I'm, where I'm supposed to be. And somebody sees that in me, which helped me to see it in myself because there was definitely like moments of like, oh, should I not have done this? Should I have gone back? Like, you know, I also had nightmares of having to go back to my job. So I'm glad that those have gone away and I don't have to go back to my job, my full time job. But yeah, I don't, where have you felt imposter syndrome? Or I guess too, for you, you have such a different experience or like perspective than me because you are a mom and, are balancing a business and all of the things. So, like, what is it like for you?
Yeah. I feel like I hold being a reseller very lightly because it's so weird how I started doing this full time. It's like I went from my corporate job. I don't even know if it's really corporate because it was private practice, but like I went from that straight into being a mom while also saying, okay, I'm going to make an income doing what I've already been doing. So it's like, yes, it's my full time job. It's not a full time salary. Like what I mean, it really just depends what you want your salary to be. But like, I don't know. It's like I enjoy it, but I feel like it's not even at the level of comparing to other people and feeling like I need to be I don't know. I'm, like, talking this out or I'm thinking about it and talking it out, like, as you asked this question, I obviously didn't already have an answer to it, but I definitely have ambitions and goals, and I do struggle if I can accomplish those things, like, one of my goals this year was to, like, consign for a celebrity or to have, like, 3 or 4 luxury consignment clients, and I'm like, is someone going to trust me in that position? And do I have, um, I don't even know like the word if it's credentials or what it takes or whatever, but how I even find them. Like I'm like curious about that. But that's specifically about reselling. And I know a lot of resellers do other things on top of it, like content creation. And I would say like this podcast, like is a huge was a huge, hurdle for me to get over, and I felt kind of like a fraud doing that because I'm like, I'm not like a full-time reseller,
Mhm.
and I've been doing this for 10 years, but, like, the amount of sales I've had compared to someone who does do this full-time is very small. Like, there were years that I was doing this in college or for fun, and so only in the last 4 years, I would say I've started taking it more seriously. And so I'm like, what am I going to get on this podcast and talk about? Or are other people going to even learn from me? Or are we going to be learning at the same time?
Yeah. Which is also, I mean, valid to learn at the same time too, it's like
Yeah, for sure.
we're
No
not
one's saying
we're
I
not
have
coming
to
here.
come on as expert.
Yeah, yeah, like, we're not coming on here saying we're experts in the things that we do. We're just sharing our lived experiences, and, like, if you can learn from those, and if you're, you know, starting out and we're sharing something that resonates or, like, you then experience that thing, like, you at least have something that you can reference and listen to and feel not alone in that space, and I think, like, that at least, like, creating this podcast for me was, like well, one, I like to talk, and, like, clearly you guys already know that because, like, I just sometimes can't shut up, but, like, actually, sorry, tangent. I was on Seller Club podcast, which is Anna and Ken, who I've made friends with from just eBay things, and we talked about my sprint month, but I did plug our podcast on there, and I said, like, Hannah is the one that, like, thinks before like, you're, like, intentional with your words and you think about and I just, like, say and then think after, and I'm like, I probably could have said that differently or probably could have worded it differently or, like, so you're intentional with your words, and I feel like you do know what you're talking about, and I think both of us have interesting experiences, but also, like, different experiences and different opinions, and I think, like, what I wanted to get from this podcast when we created it was, like, just a place that people don't feel alone because it is a very lonely business, and you can be faced with things that, like, are pretty on the outside, and you don't get the inside, like, mess and chaos where I feel like this is almost what that is, like, we're thinking things through as we're saying them or, like, talking about things in real time. Um, I don't know where I was going with that, like that, even just that now, there I am, just, like, talking and not thinking, but, like, yeah, I just think it's easy to feel like you can't speak about something because you don't have all of the answers, and that was something that took a long time for me to get over because I am, like, a perfectionist almost to a fault where, like, I things have to be perfect for me to, like when I create content, like, I have to have it make sure it's perfect, and I'm getting better at, like, just picking up the camera and talking and just posting that because it's I mean, it's growth for me, but also, like, I don't wanna be, like, wrapped up in editing all these things because I'm worried about what I said or that I said something that I don't actually know the full truth of or something. It's like,
Mhm.
whatever, I think I've just learned to just do and then, ask for forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's such a forgiving I say that and, like, laugh to myself because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, maybe Poshmark isn't that forgiving right now." But I'm like, it's such a forgiving career, or maybe it's just being a solo entrepreneur is forgiving because you have the means to test things out, and if it doesn't work out, it's okay, and I'm, like, thinking about all of the things I've just experimented on, like, this podcast was an experiment. Trying things on eBay is an experiment, but, like, what I'm losing is very little, and yeah, I just think that that is the answer to imposter syndrome is just do it like Nike.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
like,
Nike.
consignment too. I know that that's something that you, have been waiting on, and you just shared, like, you're a perfectionist and you want to make sure that it's right before you do it. But part of the beauty of it is, like, figuring it out as you go and pivoting, and, like, I've been struggling with this whole having consignment clients ship things to me, and I want to come across as very professional and like I've done this a million times, but I'm actually doing it for the very first time with some people, and I'm having to figure it out and just hope that they're really gracious and, like, okay with the ride, and then once I do have it figured out, it's going to be so much easier for the future people.
Yeah. Do you do you ever feel, like, comfortable sharing that with like, what's, like, the line of, like, sharing those feelings of, like, this is, almost like showing all your cards, being like, "Hey, I'm new at this, like, we are figuring this out together," versus, like, coming across confident and you know what you're doing and you've done this a million times, like, I feel like I would err on the side of being like, "Listen, you're my very first," which is, like, probably the worst advice ever, like, don't go in acting like you don't know what you're doing, but, like, I just
Yeah.
have that, like, I need to, like, cover my bases and make sure that I'm being honest up front because I don't want to get myself into a situation where, like, I think I know what I'm doing and I have no freaking clue. So,
Yeah.
like, is there a line?
Oh man, that's a really good question. So I've mentioned this before, but I love the podcast How I Built This by Guy Raz. Have you listened, Kendall? Okay. And there's some like really inspiring stories where people aren't lying. Well, sometimes they do lie. And then sometimes they are overly confident and sell themselves, and then they're scrambling to figure it out. Like, I think I've heard people have deals with Whole Foods, like, they make a food product and then they make a deal with Whole Foods, which is very, very, very hard to do, and then when Whole Foods accepts them, they're, like, running to make it happen and to fulfill the promises that they promised to Whole Foods, and if they don't, everything's about to explode, and, like, I am, like, on a high when I'm listening to this podcast. I'm like, "Go, go, go, you've got it," even though it's already happened. But, like, I relate to that because I'm like, they believed in themselves and they're impressing someone huge, which is only going to bring more opportunity for them in the future. And so I do come across very confident. And I have said to the to people I've reached out with, like, I can sign for influencers or content creators, which is true, but like, when I started saying that, I probably only had 1, or I just said that because that was what my goal was, and now I have 4 or 5 content creators/influencers, slash influencers, but I've never had them ship to me, and I just secured my first influencer client who's going to ship to me, and so that I didn't say you're the first, but I did say I wanna make this as easy as possible, so I had told you to do this, scratch that, and now we're going to do this, and please let me know if you have any issues, and I'll figure it out. I'm trying a new system. So it's like, I think the wording's important, but I also think that being super honest and vulnerable can be, like, draw someone's attention, and they're going to want to work with you because they've also been in that position before.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, to your point of, like, saying that you're doing something, maybe, like, not like, maybe not when you've actually secured it. I feel like it's, like, the whole, uh, if you want to be a certain person, to act like that person, like, it's like you have this vision of yourself, you need to start acting like that person every single day. So, like, I think I don't think that's like I feel like that's how I would do it too. Like, I would be super confident in myself. Uh, but I also think I feel like I would also add all my vulnerabilities because I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing, but, like,
Yeah.
trust me and we'll figure it out together. But I also think, like, your point of messaging the person that you're now that's going to ship this stuff to you, I feel like that's a new experience for you, but you're you're still you have their best interest in it. Like, you want to make sure it's super easy for them and super, like, so even if you were new at it, knowing that you want to, like, make it the best possible experience for them, I feel like that would only be good for you. Like, like, even if they're like, "Oh, this person is new at this, but they're gonna do everything they can to make it the best thing for me," I feel like it's
Yeah.
a positive for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
But we need to do a consignment episode, which is,
Yeah,
I
we
think, coming because I feel like I just have more questions and I don't wanna ask them now. I wanna wait, but there's so much I wanna know.
I know. Okay. Anything else for imposter syndrome?
I don't think so. I think that it just goes hand in hand with comparison. Very easy to just
Yeah.
start seeing things and then thinking things about yourself. So just, remember, if you got asked to do something, and if you reached out to somebody, like you said, Hannah, like, go into it with confidence, and the worst that they can say is no. But I think you learn and grow so much from failures, and, like, whatever. When one door closes, two other open or three other open. I don't know how many open. Window open. I don't know what the saying is, but you get it.
Laughing because it's like when one door opens or when one door closes, another opens, but you're like 2 more open.
Yeah, well, then you have options now.
Double
You've
that.
got 2 2 doors and a window. Garage door is open.
I'll take whatever opens.
Yeah, just go through a different door.
Okay, well, we
Oh.
are going to end with our weekly prescription. I don't wanna glaze over this, but when you are feeling jealous or comparison, we encourage you to just sit with that feeling and to name it and to not run from it. Like it might be easy to really quickly mute that person, but we encourage you to like really actually sit with that feeling and understand it and just pull it apart to understand why is that coming up for you. Like maybe there were some things that were unexpected this week and it's really about that thing versus like this content creator that you're comparing yourself to. And then the last piece is just to choose someone to root for. So if you connect with anyone's story or their business or their personality online, find all of the reasons why you like that person and cheer on their accomplishments, whether that be commenting or even just like internally being excited for that person versus comparing yourself to that person. And I think that's all we have for our weekly prescription this week. Cool.
Sounds good. You
Yeah.
nailed it.
Well, thank you. Well, give us a follow on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube, and is it follow us on TikTok? I don't have TikTok.
Yes, follow us on TikTok. Yeah. Now you're making me second guess. Yes, follow us on TikTok.
Awesome. Okay, we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you're feeling inspired and ready to tackle your next sourcing trip. Thanks for making resale therapy part of your weekly routine. We'll be here every Thursday to dive back into the world of reselling.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. We will include any helpful resources, our socials, and selling platforms in our show notes. See you soon.